So for adding and subtracting rational expressions, we need to first find the least common denominator. We call it the LCD. So it's just going to be the product of the greatest power of each factor in the denominator. So the first thing you're going to want to do then is factor the denominator. We always factor first, right? So this first fraction is going to stay 5x on top. It's not going to factor any further. This will factor to x minus 2, x minus 4, and then the other fraction here stays 3x on top, and this denominator factors to x minus 4, x plus 3. Now, when we're adding fractions, we have to have a common denominator, right? So in this one, I see that I have an x minus 2, and this second one, I do not. So I need to multiply by x minus 2 on top and on bottom. In the other fraction, I have an x plus 3, but there's not one over here. So I need to multiply by x plus 3 on top and on bottom. Whenever we add fractions, we keep the denominator the same, which is why we made a common denominator. So we have x minus 4, x plus 3, x minus 2. And then on top, we have to distribute here. So it's going to be 5x squared plus 15x plus... In this other fraction, we have 3x squared minus 6x. We're running out of space there. And then the only thing left to do would be to combine like terms. So on top, we have a 5x squared and a 3x squared. So 8x squared. On bottom, 15x and 6x. Okay, sorry. So then 15x minus 6x is 9x. Where's my marker? And then on bottom, I still have the same factors, x minus 4, x plus 3, x minus 2. In order to make sure it's fully simplified, factor if you still can. So on top here, I can still take out an x, and I'm left with 8x minus 9. And then on bottom, it's already fully factored, so you can just leave it as those three factors. And then like last class, we want to double check if there's any factors on top that are also on bottom. If so, we need to cancel. But in this case, we don't have any, so we are done. Let's try 2 more together. So remember, step 1 is always factor first. In this example, we have a 2 in front, so we have to multiply 2 times negative 10, negative 20. You're still looking for the factors that multiply to negative 20 and add to negative 1. So that's going to be what? Negative 5 and... So we're going to rewrite it as 2x squared plus 4x minus 5x minus 10. Group the first two. Take out a 2x. You're left with x plus 2. Take out a negative 5. You're left with x plus 2. These parentheses match, which they should. And this stuff on the outside is your other parentheses. So if I rewrite that first fraction, I now have 3x plus 2 over 2x minus 5, x plus 2. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this fraction over here. So this case, 2 times 5 is 10. We need to find what multiplies to 10 and adds to negative 7. So that's negative 2 and 5. 2x squared minus 2x minus 5x plus 5x. Group these first two, take out a 2x. You're left with x minus 1. Group these next two, take out a negative 5, you're left with x minus 1. So the x minus 1 is one parenthesis, the 2x minus 5 is the other. Now for adding fractions. They have to have a common denominator. Notice they both have a 2x minus 5, but this one has an x plus 2. The second one does not, which means you have to multiply the second fraction by x plus 2. The second one has an x minus 1. The first one does not. So multiply the first fraction by x minus 1. Now we distribute on top. So if we FOIL this first set here, That's going to be 3x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 2. And then I'm just going to keep going across the numerator. This is 8x plus 16. And then when we add fractions, our denominator stays the same. So I can just write it once now. The only thing left to do here would be to combine like terms and then factor if it factors more. So starting with our highest exponent, we have 3x squared. And then 8x and 2x is 10x minus 3x is 7x. And then negative 2 plus 16 plus 14 all over those same three factors that I had before. And this actually doesn't factor any further, so we are done. Oh, I think I changed the sign by accident, but yeah. Okay, if you want to pause it and try the next one, you may, and then turn it back on and I will continue doing it. So, first things first, factor first, right? So this first fraction, top is fully factored, it's 3y plus 2. On bottom, what multiplies to 10 and adds to negative 7? Y minus 5, y minus 2. The other fraction, 2y's on top. On bottom, y minus 5, y minus 3. So this first fraction is missing. They both have a y minus 5, but this first fraction is missing a y minus 3. So we multiply by that on top and bottom. The second fraction over here is missing this guy, y minus 2. So multiply that on top and on bottom. Start FOILing the first one. 3y squared minus 9y plus 2y minus 6. I'm just going to keep going across the top. 2y squared minus 4y. And then, since we're adding, we just keep the same three fractions on bottom. You don't need to rewrite them. Combine like terms on top. So 3y and 2y squared is 5y squared. And then negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7, minus 4, negative 11y, minus 6, and keep the denominator. And then we have the same three factors on bottom. Okay. The next page here is practice. So in the first part, they just want the least common denominator. So what is going to make them the same? So the smallest thing, I'll do number 1 for you. The smallest thing that I can turn 5x squared and 15x both into is 15x squared, right? I'm not telling you to actually do it. I just want to know what are you going to change them both into, so you don't have to actually go any further. Then when you get to this next section, they want you to actually simplify. So once you make the denominators the same, go through and simplify. Some of them, like look at 15, they're already the same. So just because this is a minus, change the signs on top. Your denominator stays 2x plus 5. On top, you have 6x minus 2x, and negative 3 plus 13, and you're done. Okay? But if they're not the same, like in 13, right, you would want to factor first, and then you have 2y and a y plus 2. So you'd have to multiply this one by y plus 2 on top and on bottom, and then go ahead and simplify. Okay? So do this for classwork. Whatever you don't finish is homework.